What's up, everyone? We're your hosts, Cohn, Rob Schuh, and you can think of this as sort of a week one preview show. Game is 2 days away. It's 2 days away. It's amazing. So let's talk about it. How are you?
I'm
Is that Bosa?
fantastic. That is a Bosa jersey. Had to break
Wow.
it out for the return of Nick. We are 48 hours from game time, Grant. I'm fantastic. This week has been great. Did a live show with Jackhammer on my channel, so there is new content on Rob Schuh's YouTube channel. Go check it out. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. It's been a good week. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
I'm excited for football.
Okay, let's get right into this game. There's news. Left tackle for the Lions, Taylor Decker, hurt his hand, not going to play. And so the question here is, will the 49ers defensive line just dominate this game?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question because you look at the 49ers defensive line being the best unit on the field, the best unit of the entire team, either team on the field. And so I think that's the type of unit that could just destroy a game, right? They could take it over. And you look at the motivation that they have this week. They're playing for Chris Kocurek. Is that a correct pronunciation? Was that close enough?
Close enough, yeah.
Kocurek?
Yeah.
They would run through a brick wall for that guy.
Sure.
They love him. And this is the revenge game, right? This is him coming back to Detroit. So hyper motivated, very talented group. In my mind, it's entirely possible that they wreck this entire game.
Yeah, no question. I think the Lions have to prepare for that. They have to know that if they just drop back on 3rd and 7, bad things are going to happen. They have to avoid that as much as possible. So their entire game plan has to be figuring out ways to run the ball, figuring out ways to get the ball out of Jared Goff's hands immediately, figuring out ways to get Jared Goff out of the pocket. And I'm sure they're working on that. I would hope that they're working on it. Otherwise, they're just going to score 6 points and lose. And
they need to be working on not getting Jared Goff killed on Sunday. I mean, with the left tackle out, the possibilities are you either shift Penei Sewell back to left tackle, which, that is his natural position. So perhaps he holds the line there. But going against Bosa and Ford in the rotation that's going to be coming in for the 49ers, I mean, rough first game for a rookie. And then you've got a guy that would come in either at right tackle to supplant Sewell or come in at left tackle, leaving Penei Sewell at right tackle. And that guy's a converted defensive lineman who has one NFL start at tackle.
Yeah, I mean, this injury right here is making the game seem like the Lions are going to have to do some really extraordinarily creative things just to score any points. They're going to have to be at their best and not just running whatever offense they thought they could run this year, something specific to this opponent and their injuries. Because if they just play their standard offense, they'll get Jared Goff hurt in this game. He will not make it through. It'll be bad for Jared. Yes.
And it seems like something the 49ers need to do in order to protect that thin secondary. I don't know that we've gotten word yet on E-Man. I think we'll probably wait until today's practice to see if he can get back in there and see if he'll play Sunday. But if Emmanuel Moseley is out, that's tough. I don't know if you can expect Josh Norman to come in and be super productive. I don't even know if they would put Lenoir in there. It would be a tough decision. Having the defensive front dominate the game seems like a way to take that out of the equation.
Well, I mean, the Niners, like the Arizona Cardinals, who I'm obsessed with this week, I don't know why, are similar in the fact that they don't really invest in the cornerback position. Their whole idea is if our front seven is good enough, it won't really matter. The ball will come out of the quarterback's hands so fast. All these corners will look good. And there's definitely truth to that. But the D-line has to be great. So it is on the D-line to dominate this game, and I think they absolutely can. But the follow-up to that would be, do they need to? Does the 49ers defense in general need to carry them in this game? Or can the offense win a 31-29 game like we saw last night?
Yeah, I think we just established that the defense can take it over. Will they need to? My answer is sort of a hesitant no. I look at the defense of the Lions from last year, and granted that it looks as though it's been transformed this year. Transformed to what? We don't know. but transformed indeed with a lot of new faces along the front seven and a young secondary returning that hopefully will take a step forward. And certainly if you have a better play on the defensive front, you would expect that to carry over into better play in the secondary. I think we're going to roll the Lions. I just get that sense from this game. Unless we have week one weirdness that comes out, I think that the matchups here are just sort of built for a snowball effect. Storming defensive front. Hopefully this year we can force a few more turnovers than we were able to produce last year, and then really get it rolling on the offensive end of it.
Yeah, I hear you. If the Niners running game is clicking the way we think it can, that could carry the team. I mean, it seems like they could run for 250 yards and score 30 points, and the defense could have like a mediocre day and they could win. But if the running game isn't working well, or the Niners aren't committed to it, which is what happened week one last year, and I don't think anyone expected that. Everyone, well, the Niners have the best run game. They're just going to be so easy against Arizona. I think Raheem Mostert, he had a long touchdown catch, but I think he averaged like 3.5 yards a carry. It just wasn't working. The Niners kind of gave up on it. They put the game in Jimmy Garoppolo's hands. George Kittle got hurt. Debo and Ayuk weren't there, and it all just fell apart, and they lost the game they absolutely shouldn't have lost to a team that wasn't good, Arizona. So will the defense need to carry them? I mean, it's the easiest path to victory. It's so the easiest path to victory. Just, give up 10 points. I think you could do it. Absolutely. It would make everything so much easier. And, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo could go out and throw for 350 yards. Maybe Trey Sermon could run for 100 yards. A lot of times offense isn't really clicking week one. And it's not just Kyle's offense, it's offense in general. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of choreography and time. Like defense is just creating chaos a lot of time. No, they need to be on the same page. Right. But offense is much more about choreography. So, yeah, defense, just handle this one.
It certainly seems that that's the case throughout the NFL, that defenses come along faster than the offenses, and that coming out of the gate, you often see offenses stutter, look a little protection. Bit. Right. Yes. That offensive front seems to need time to gel. I'm interested to wonder if that's not the case with the wide nine for the 49ers. I mean, it seems more of a scheme that requires people to rush in unison, to really be one cohesive unit as opposed to just getting after it.
Right, because there's so much space in between each one. If one guy messes up, it's like the Grand Canyon. And Javon Kinlaw won't be in there. So, well, looking like he won't be. Jeffrey says, does Ford stay healthy today? Today, it's a walkthrough, I would hope. I would really hope. Yeah. But
that's
Sunday,
a bad sign if he doesn't make it through today. That's rough.
Do you think that Ford is looking at this season as, look, they pay me a lot of money here. If I get hurt, say la vie, I'm a football player. I'm going to give it a shot. And is it like a kamikaze mission in that sense where he's almost, hey, man, I can't predict it. There's a high likelihood I could get hurt again. Or is he thinking, nah, I feel great. I'm going to have a full, long, healthy year. How could you say?
I struggle with that. And I was thinking this exact question yesterday as I was listening to Coach Kocurek talk about Dee Ford and coming back from that injury. And honestly, the way in which he described it, it could have just been the words that he chose in the way that he described it. But it sure did sound to me as if Dee Ford last year was so dejected around what he needed to do to get back to health, back to form in order to be able to play again, that his goal was simply to play another snap in the NFL. And that's worrisome in that if that is your goal, and then for you getting back this year, it's found gold. That's rough. I mean, I sure hope that his mindset is the kamikaze mission. As much as a human being, that's tough for me to imagine, right? I mean, an injury like a back injury where that could affect the rest of your life. As a human being and not as a 49er fan, I want Dee Ford to take care of himself. I want him to do the right thing. I want him to, play it safe. As a 49er fan, I want him to be on there and dominate. So I struggle with that. And I do wonder where his headspace is. I think that in the back of your mind, unless you are a true gladiator through and through, with an injury like a back injury, I think it has to play on your sense of well-being and preserving yourself for years after football?
Yeah, Jeffrey says, how do we keep Ford healthy on Sunday? That's an interesting question. Not play him. But it seems like the more you play D Ford, the higher the likelihood of victory is. If you put the more Ford and Bosa are on the field together, the easier this win is for the 49ers.
Right.
I mean, we've seen what they've done, those two, to Jared Goff in the past. This Lions offensive line is struggling at offensive tackle big time right now. It's so clear to see the win there. So you take Ford out and say, well, we could win that way. Sure. But it's the Lions. Let's just pull a San Antonio Spurs, and just do a little load management and rest a bunch of our best players and win some other way. It's not the NBA. If you find a way, and we're going to talk about this later, but if you find a freaking way to lose to the Lions week 1, the whole season could fall off the rails real fast. And one loss in the NFL is like 7 in baseball or like 3.5 in basketball. So don't mess around.
Don't mess around. At the same time, try and limit D Ford snaps on Sunday, please.
Okay. In that same vein, is week 1 a chance to build Jimmy Garoppolo's confidence?
So I think we're in agreement here, Grant, that the best recipe to ensure a victory Sunday is dominate on defense, run the hell out of the ball, and minimize Jimmy. I mean, I'm not trying to disparage our quarterback when saying that. I think
it's always the easiest way to win in football.
Yeah, that's the most conservative approach.
It's always
right.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, to me, that's old school football. That's always Shanahan football. Mm-hmm. That's what he wants to do in an ideal setting on any Sunday, regardless of who his quarterback is. If he can win that way, he wants to win that way because that's a physically imposing way to beat teams.
Also, Harbaugh was dominating too, and it's the way the Niners did it in the NFC Championship game against the Packers. The only thing I would disagree with you is sometimes Shanahan just loses it and decides to go pass first, and I don't understand it. It's what happened in the Super Bowl, but that's okay. Let's keep going.
I choose to ignore those moments in time.
Yeah. Yes.
I think I've blocked out the memory in Miami. I don't even remember being there. I remember smoking some fine cigars, but that's about it. Everything else I've just blocked out.
At least you remembered the good part.
That's right. That's right.
Nice.
Ouch. Yeah. So it is the best course of action to minimize Jimmy. But what I'm wondering here is that was a mistake in Minnesota in 2019 in the playoffs, in my humble opinion. I know that we dominated that game, but Coach Shanahan had every opportunity to just give Jimmy a few decent throws to build the confidence, to get him to a point where he would have been a little more prepared to step up in the Super Bowl, to eliminate the narrative of take it out of Jimmy's hands. We don't trust Jimmy. It would have been nice to build his confidence, and I think we have the opportunity to do that this Sunday, and I think it's necessary.
I hear you, man. That's an interesting way to look at it, that they should have gave him more throws in Minnesota. I'm on the other side. Like definitely, they definitely needed to take the ball out of his hands in that game because he was trying to give it to Eric Kendricks or all those linebackers.
Yeah.
And in the Super Bowl, they never should have let him. I mean, what in the fourth quarter? You just keep giving the ball to Debo and Mostert. Debo, Mostert, Debo. Oh, Mostert. Oh, Debo. That's how it should have went.
Yeah.
And it didn't go down that way. I'm so upset about it. I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. So no. Okay, like building up Jimmy Garoppolo's confidence. As if he could improve. As if there's this upper echelon of Jimmy that he's going to attain. I don't trust Jimmy. And I know some people do. And maybe it's because I watched training camp. And maybe training camp doesn't matter. But to me, watching this dude just throw the daily interception and then watching him go down and play the Chargers and have the Chargers like really like laughing on the sideline. And then watching him, he was good against the Raiders backups, but against the Chargers backups in the game, those were all backups. He looked jittery. I just feel like if he is going to hit some type of a stride and regain the form he found in 2019, I'm skeptical that it'll be week 1, even if it is the Lions, just because, I mean, maybe he's played really well in practice the last 2 weeks because it's been shut down to the media. I don't know. Maybe he's just been lights out, but I would be, if he has, then go for it, Niners. But if not, don't expect him to just flip some switch because it's Detroit. I mean, you saw him against some backups. You know what he can do. I mean, he does not discriminate. If it's a linebacker and he's 5 yards in front of him, he's like, ooh, I like that. That's a nice. I'm just saying. You Kyle, you've been in practice. You tell me, how's he looked the last 2 weeks? Honestly, I don't know. But I'd be scared. I would be scared.
Those are all very fair points, Grant. Very fair. But what I hear you say there with Jittery Jimmy, which is great nickname, great alliteration there. Jittery Jimmy, that sounds like a confidence issue to me. And that sounds like something that, granted, you may be correct about the idea that there's no next level.
Yeah.
There may not be like super Jimmy, but I think there could be confident Jimmy, as opposed to Jittery Jimmy.
Yeah.
So just a few short passes, the gimme throws that can inspire confidence, because unless Coach Shanahan has decided that he's willing to put the rookie in, which to this point he has decidedly said he is not, then I think we need to build Jimmy's confidence, because we're going to need him in weeks 3, 4, and 5. That's brutal. We are going to need confident Jimmy at that point.
I'd love to see that. I haven't seen. Here's the thing. It so throws me off. Like, he plays and he's like, he'll be on the practice field and he'll throw these picks to linebackers, and he'll have the Chargers like, going crazy on the sideline, just going crazy. And then after practice, he comes back and he's like, "Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? How you doing?" And you're like, "Well, what happened? Like, what'd you think about your day?" "Oh, just trying to get on the same page, working some things out, having a great time." Like, really? It's just always so pleased with everything. It's amazing to me. And maybe I read into it too much, but to me, it's a guy that just doesn't take it super seriously. And maybe that's a good thing. I just grew up on Steve Young and Jeff Garcia, and these guys, I have a feeling if they didn't go like 25 for 25 in the practice, they'd be freaking pissed that they were 24 for 25. And Jimmy's over here like 12 for 21 with a pick and a half. And he's like, "Oh, it's just a great day in August, having a nice time, making $27 million. It's like, life is so grand. It's just grand for Jimmy. I wish he would not be so pleased all the time. Like, yeah, dude, you're super good looking and rich. And why should you complain? But like, everyone wanted you to be great. And you're over here being like, hey, being mediocre ain't so bad. It's not so bad. You get paid a lot. And they just keep, I don't know, man. Come on, Jimmy. Come on. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how I got here, but I started.
First of all, phenomenal falsettos there. I mean, just great. I can't really dispute it. I mean, Jimmy is what Jimmy is at this point. And I think you're right that Jeff Garcia and Steve Young were through and through perfectionists.
Yes.
They were self-critical. They were, I want to be perfect.
Yes.
I want to excel at this game. And I don't get that sense from Jimmy. I do get the sense that he's pretty pleased with himself most of the time. And he should be. He's succeeding in life. Like, there's no question.
I live in a one-bedroom apartment. I have a Kia Stinger. I'm very impressed with myself. He's on a whole different stratosphere. I get it, dude. I do. I really freaking. And he's younger than. He's 3 years younger than me. I mean, dude.
Wow.
I get it. But
that's a trip when you think about the fact that he's 3 years younger. I don't even want to say how much younger he is than I am. So
he kind of got that, like, he's very gray.
Yes.
You could almost step back and think that he's 39 or something. But no, he's 29.
He looks like he's George Clooney's age.
He does.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in Ocean's 11.
Yeah. Yes.
Like he's about to make something like some really witty quip, to Brad Pitt, as Brad Pitt's eating an apple or something.
Phenomenal.
Okay, what were we talking about? Jimmy Garoppolo and his confidence? No, he's not lacking confidence in life. He's the most confident person I've ever seen. He could throw 8 interceptions in a day, come back and be like, "I'm just working out. Just getting on the same page, man. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you, Jimmy."
Just trying some things.
Oh, yeah, that's what practice is for. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, definitely put the game in Jimmy's hands, see what happens. I think it'd be great for drama. In the interest of drama and maybe comedy, I think do it. Definitely do it. I'm sorry, I'm negative. If it works out, it's brilliant.
There's no question that That would be the dramatic way to approach the game on Sunday, because it would be a little boring to dominate on defense, run the ball, and just crush them. I mean, exciting boring, but boring nonetheless. Not going to be a close game in that regard. You put the ball in Jimmy's hands, we might have a nail biter, my friend.
Here's the thing. Hold on. Let's be serious. If you put the game in Jimmy's hands and do it like what does that mean? If you do what Dallas did and throw the ball 80% of the time, you're also putting the game in Daniel Brunskill's hands and Mike McGlinchey's hands. It's a you're going to lose. But what you could do, there are ways to build Jimmy's confidence. You're a run-first team. You want to run more than you throw. You should always be looking to run more than you throw. But you could definitely find shots for Jimmy to hit some big throws, not just dinks and dunks, but like give him a couple of throws down the field for him to hit and build his confidence, because he's still, to me, not over missing that throw in the Super Bowl. Like what's the last big throw he's hit since he missed out?
I can't even think of it. If he's not over it, we're not over it, right?
So give him some opportunities to hit some shots, but like on 1st and 10 on a play action rollout, when he's winning, it's like some low leverage, low pressure situation.
Yeah, and that's what I mean in this scenario as well, is it not open it up and just throw the ball, all over the field. I'm talking short passes to get the completion percentage up, and the occasional play action deep ball once you've sucked up the linebackers to try and give him that shot.
I'm with that. But if they have, I would rather have like 20 throws than 35. And I'm sure it'll be somewhere in between, but I would err on the 20 side of the spectrum, because you don't need, it's just the same logic they use in the NFC Championship game. Well, why would we throw if we don't have to? Exactly. That should be every week with you guys. Exactly.
I'd like to see Jimmy. I'd like to see something in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 throws, but I'd like to see the vast majority of those throws happen while we're already in a comfortable lead at that point. That would be my ideal.
You want to throw with a lead. Hey, you and Kyle have a lot in common, man.
Yeah.
You guys.
We go big. But this is with a purpose. This isn't the Super Bowl where it's you just need to win this one game. This is setting up the whole season. This is with an intention. This is not just to show off in one game, which I think is the problem with what we did in the Super Bowl.
Part of me wants Kyle to lose week 1 because it would just be a bonanza for me. But the other thing is like, dude, the season fell apart week 2 last season, Kyle. Like, can we get just that wasn't good for business. Can we create a little drama? I mean, if it's going to fall apart, could it fall apart way later? And if they could, you go to the playoff? Playoffs are good. Playoffs are better than not playoffs. I'm just saying. Playoffs? Okay. Carabelle says over-under on Trey Lance getting 2 snaps on the first offensive drive.
Ooh, first offensive drive.
They'd have to get the first down. I think he's going to play a lot. It depends if they go 3 and out or not, but I'm going to say over just because.
Yeah, I'm taking the over here as well. I put Trey somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 snaps throughout the game. And so I would think that he would average 2 to 3 snaps per drive, assuming that it's a reasonable drive.
Yeah, again, my read of the situation here is that Kyle wants to be the hero. He wants to be the main character of the movie. You know what I'm saying? He wants to be Happy Gilmore. He wants to be Adam Sandler. He doesn't want to be Sandler's buddy. So how do you do that this year? Well, 2 quarterback system. Definitely 2 quarterback system for sure. That way, neither quarterback is the main guy. And if it works, it's only because Kyle made it work, because no one's ever made this work. It's something you don't do. It's something you don't do. Right. It's like an opportunity for him to be genius with a big G. Big G genius. So yeah, I think he needs Lance to play a healthy amount for all the stories to be, it worked. Kyle unveiled the 2 quarterback system, and it was glorious. It was shock and awe. There was Trey handing off, Jimmy handing off. The Lions never knew who was going to hand the ball off, but there they were. That's what the story's going to be. Not like Jimmy was great or Trey was great. It was Kyle was a freaking big G genius. That's what I think the story's going to be.
Orchestrated the offense like no other. It was just phenomenal. Pulling strings.
Yeah, I mean, the way one guy would hand it off, and then the only Kyle could have figured out when certain people should. When do you want Trey handing off? Oh, I can't get that's scheme. I can't talk about how I decide which player runs the same plays and hands. I'm sorry. Matt says flash forward divisional playoffs. Game is on Jimmy Garoppolo's arm because we are struggling to run on the Bucks. That's when harsh reminder comes why we drafted Lance. Real quick, we expect the Niners to get to the playoffs, right?
Correct.
Who do you think is starting that game? If you had to guess today. I mean, you know who I think. But who do you think?
Who do I think or who do I want?
Think. Like, how do you?
I think it's going to be Jimmy. I think that Jimmy will start that game, and I think that we'll see much heavier packages of Trey, a true sort of rotation, closer to a balanced mix of snaps between the two.
So you're getting 2019 vibes, is what you're telling me.
I'm sticking with my original projection, which was that Jimmy would in fact come back. I had to modify that a bit. I think Trey plays a hell of a lot more this season than I would have anticipated before I actually saw him play in preseason. But I do think that, judging by the team captains that were selected, judging by everything I hear teammates say, by everything I hear that the coaches say, this feels like a year for Jimmy. It seems like it's on him. It seems like he would have to fail pretty miserably to lose that job.
Yeah, it just seems like everyone's trying to prop him up, like Jimmy, and he's just gonna belly flop so hard. I know everyone's doing everything right, and Jimmy's just like, but I'm still Jimmy. What are you expecting here? Ninerbot says Grant jealous because Gendry is handsome and rich. Of course I am. I mean, obvious. Is it not obvious? It's obvious. David says, Grant, did you see how Rice could catch Lance's throws in that commercial? Seems like they're building someone's confidence. I gotta say though, upon further review, there were no direct shots of Trey Lance throwing balls to Rice. There was Lance throwing, cut, Rice catching. We don't know. We just don't know. And I got to think, if they were really throws from Lance, the director would have wanted to get that in one shot. Why would you cut that?
That would seem like in Goodfellas, you want the continuous shot, right? You want that one panning shot, but they didn't have that. Did they need a stunt thrower? Did they need to bring in a guest?
Maybe they tried and Rice couldn't do it. I don't know. All right, let's move on. Okay. This seems to really flow from our last topic somehow. How the Niners can lose on Sunday.
Seems to dovetail in there nicely, doesn't it, Grant?
I think so. So why don't you go first on this one?
So I think that for me, this seems like an unlikely outcome. I'll say that off the bat. I think that you look at the Lions' 32nd ranked defense from last year. Again, back to my points earlier, a lot of new faces in the front seven, and count on some improved secondary play with a bunch of young players that take that next step. But when you look at the 49ers' strengths, they seem to be the Lions' weaknesses. The 49ers D-line against a banged-up offensive line for the Lions, advantage 49ers. The 49ers' run game against the Lions' front, again, a lot of new faces there, but judging by last year, advantage 49ers. TJ Hawkinson, the best receiver, in my opinion, bar none on the Lions, he's going to be blanketed by either Fred Warner or Jimmy Ward, most likely Jimmy Ward, and we all know what Jimmy's capable in man-to-man. DeAndre Swift out of the backfield, he's got to go against All-Pro Fred, Big Play Dre. George Kittle, the Lions struggle with covering tight ends all of last year. So it just seems to line up perfectly for the 49ers to win, which makes me nervous because it's week 1 of the NFL and weird stuff happens. So how can they lose on Sunday, right? I mean, all those things go right, they won't lose. But what I saw with Tampa Bay last night seems to be one of the recipes in which the 49ers could lose. We have a super thin secondary. If we have a couple of injuries during the game, it could get tough. If we have too many turnovers, Bucks overcame 4 turnovers last night against a supremely talented Dallas team. Obviously, Detroit lesser than Dallas on offense. But if we commit 4 turnovers against Detroit, I have a hard time imagining we overcome that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is one of these games where they'd have to beat themselves. And it's like a cliche, but actually, to me, in football, a lot of times when you watch games, what happens is one team blows it. Yes. Both teams are kind of holding serve and doing standard NFL stuff, and then one team blows it. And I think what the Patriots did for a long time with Brady was basically not beat themselves. You kind of just take what the defense gives you on offense, execute, play good, not great on offense and defense, and just wait for the other team to freaking blow it and make a big mistake. And how do you do that? Fumbles, interceptions, penalty sacks. I call them FIPS. And you count them. Like if you want to have less than 10, obviously the turnovers are worse than the penalties and the sacks are worse than the penalties. But overall, if you could keep those to single digits, you're okay. I think you could probably beat the Lions with 7 or 8 FIPS. But if you get into 13 or 14, you're asking to lose to a team that sucks. Because then the Lions can just go out there, do nothing, and win. And that's the kind of stuff you see happen sometimes week one is teams find amazing ways to lose games on special teams. And we didn't see that. We saw two great quarterbacks last night. We didn't see that, but it can be done. Don't do it.
That was a spectacular game last night. I mean, even with all the FIPS in there. Yes, 49ers need fewer than 10 FIPS.
I'm counting.
I like it.
Yeah, that's right. JMTZ says, here's a little money to help Grant get a sweet setup as Rob. Thank you. This is the $5 that I'm going to need to get all the great things that Rob has going for him right now. I feel like you had a lot of the stuff on back order for years. Like you ordered the nicest stuff out there and you had to pass through like the Silk Road for it even to get here. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Yes. There were considerable delays in the pipeline.
Yeah. You got it. Vikrant S says Mostert 2K this year if he stays healthy all season, especially given 17 games. Nah, it's always a committee out here. Out here, it's going to be him, Sermons, Lance. How many yards is Lance going to run for this year? How many yards? I want to know.
Ooh,
I think it's going to be a lot.
But I've been wrong about 736.
I think it's going to. That's what I was going to say. 736. See, we're finally getting on the same page. William says, "Hey, you're doing a great job. My great work, Rob. The reason Kittles and other teammates don't want Trey's because with Trey it takes the ball out of their hands. With Trey it's just him running around. Interesting. Also, they can't catch Trey's passes. How's it going to look with Kittles dropping balls left and right? That's not going to look good for Kittles.
That might upset George.
Yeah, George.
You don't want to see furious George.
You don't want to see that or curious George. Joshua says Lance is so raw, starting him could shatter him. Hasn't played in 600 days. He needs snaps to be ready for 2022. Dual quarterback was entirely predictable. Okay. I'm curious to see, though, how this works, because if all they're going to do with him is say, go on the field, hand off 10 times and pull it once and run once, how does that help him in any freaking way develop as a quarterback? That's my question. So I don't know what they're going to do. We don't know yet.
I'll play devil's advocate on that one. I think to me, the argument of getting them in slowly, that old school approach to seasoning rookies, there's something to that. There's something to building the confidence, getting on the field and just having things go right and not having it be a complete disaster. That to me is the new experience of being on an NFL field that could build up confidence, get him right. So it's like, but it's a stretch.
Just hand the ball off 5 times without fumbling it, and we're going to work from there. Show me
a start
that you can hand it off without fumbling it, Trey, and then we'll let you run. Okay. Jeez,
then and only then.
Amazing how the Niners traded up to 3 for some guy, and they're like, just don't think that just because we traded up to number 3 that we think you're that. Don't think. Oh, you think we think you're that good? Oh, well, you're wrong. We don't even think you can handle the ball. It's like, because the Jets over there being like, where's Zach? God, we're so pleased to have you. You're so good. Thank you so much. The Niners are like, don't try to get the wrong impression over here, buddy, pal.
Slow your roll there, rookie.
Yeah, it's exactly. Trey's like, I thought you guys were desperately in need of a spark. Oh, hey, you guys got it.
No, we're going to pay $27 million to one quarterback, invest all this into a rookie, and then we're going to minimize the quarterback position. It's my favorite thing that the 49ers are doing this year. Invest heavy and then minimize.
Here's what happened. They were going to go all in with Trey Lance, but they started getting 2019 vibes, and they were strong. And they just got hit by so many vibes at once, it changed the whole complexion of the. What are you going to do? You can't deny a vibe. They're serious. Chris says if Lance starts more than half the year, he'll get 750 plus rushing this year. If they split 5 to 700 is very doable. Yeah, I agree.
Chris clearly did not hear 736.
Yeah, we said 736. That's what
736.
That's the answer. I don't know. Go to Vegas right now. Michael says, was Kyle playing 3D, more like 4D chess the whole time and playing this two-headed monster from the jump? Yeah, I maintain that what happened was he said, I want Mac Jones. The Niners were like, read Twitter. And he's like, okay, I won't take Mac Jones. And I do like Trey Lance, but you have to understand I'm not starting Trey Lance. Like, that's my condition. He's not ready. It's going to take time. And they're like, okay, fine. That's fine. So this is, yes, I do think he planned this from the jump. He gave Trey Lance an opportunity to win the job, but like with 3 arms tied behind his back.
Yeah, he gave him a chance, but not really. It feels as if to start the season, this was his plan. I don't know if he thought it would naturally evolve into something else, but given the opportunities he did and didn't give to Lance, it feels like he wanted a 2 QB system to start the year.
Ninerbot coming in strong says Jittery's 24-8 as a starter and Grant acting like he's Nick Mullins. Really think he's going to lose against the Lions when we already know what Goff can do? I think he's going to win by 2 touchdowns. I think he has the capability to lose to the Lions. I do. This guy doesn't see linebackers, and I don't know why, but I've seen it. He can't see them. He is blind. He's linebacker blind. How do you fix that when you can't see linebackers? They're right there. They're 6'3". I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough one, but he is 24-8. He's also 5-4 in his last 9. He's 6-8 in his last 14. 8-6 in his last 14. He's starting to feel like Goff.
Don't say it. Oh, like you Goff. Said it.
I'm sorry. Said it. I mean, Goff had a great win-loss record. He was freaking 23-8.
He was.
He was. I'm sorry, Jimmy. Play better. You can't keep skating by on that win-loss record and that smile. All right.
That devilish jawline.
I've been waiting to talk about this. I've been thinking about this all morning. How the Lions should game plan against the 49ers. Why don't you go first, and then I'll fill in the gaps.
So we just covered how the 49ers could potentially lose, but if we were actively game planning against them, what would we do? How would we try to beat them? For me, it's try to take advantage of the aggressive nature of the wide 9 and those incredibly large run lanes that can open up if the linemen are not position sound, if they're not gap sound. Power runs through those larger gaps, the short pass game to get Goff comfortable. Once the defense sucks up, play action deep. We know that Goff is capable of hitting a long play action pass. And I think you need to hope that you have the perfect game from Goff. You got to get the ball out of his hands quickly because he's going to have no time to throw. You know that the 49ers are going to be aggressive in coming after him. You know it's a revenge game for that defensive line. You know they're trying to win for their defensive line coach. So you have to take advantage of that aggression. You have to turn it against the 49ers. You have to count on the fact that the 49ers have been incapable of generating significant turnovers. And so, again, conservative game plan with run, short passes, suck the defense up, hit them deep, play the run and short pass. To me, that's what you have to hope for.
Okay, let's stick here. Obviously, you want to run the ball here because you don't have, you're avoiding drop back passing. That's just the worst thing you could do against the Niners.
And DeAndre Swift is a very talented runner.
Right. So you definitely want to run. I mean, with that wide 9 and the fact that the Niners are probably going to play with split safeties, they're daring you to run. You got to run. But I also got to think that they're expecting us to run, Rob. It's obvious that that's the move. It's freaking obvious. Okay. They don't respect our wide receivers here at all. They don't respect our tackles. They don't respect our passing game whatsoever. They're expecting us to run. We may not have much success running the ball, and it's a hell of a defense too. It's a hell of a run defense too. So what I'm thinking here, that's what I would do. Bear with me, okay? Especially early in the game, let's not run. Let's not run. No, what I want to do is I want to come out with play action early. And here's how I want to do it, though. I want to do it on first down. I want to do it towards Armstead. I want to go bootleg, okay? Because Armstead, here's the thing. You can really shut down the play action bootlegs with a good D end who's reading the play correctly because you're not blocking him. And once you turn around, he can be right in the quarterback's face, force the check down, end of story. or the throwaway or the sack. Armstead, the defensive tackle who plays D-end a lot for the 49ers, whenever they do that to his side, he just chases the running back every time. And he just lets the quarterback waltz out. And it's, the Rams did this to the Niners 2 years ago with Goff. And they scored like 30 points. It was towards the end of the 2019 season. They rolled out like 15 freaking times. And it worked. It freaking worked because of Armstead. And, mostly Armstead. So what I would do is you don't want to be throwing when they know you're going to throw. You don't want to drive back and throw on 3rd and 7. You might as well just like throw a screen or a draw or something like that. But on 1st and 10,
about it.
When Armstead's out there and maybe Ford isn't, bootleg at Armstead all freaking day. Make them take Armstead off the field. Bring in Ebukam because he's good at not allowing that stuff. And then when Ebukam's out there, run at him. That's what I would do.
That's playing chess. You're taking advantage of that aggressive defensive front. You're taking advantage of the 49ers' expectation that the Lions are going to come out and run the ball.
Taking advantage of 91.
Especially 91. On first down.
And I'm getting away from 97.
Yeah.
Getting them out of there.
Yeah. You're going towards a tendency that to be true unless Armstead has made some incredible leap in that area this year. That seems like a pretty prudent way to attack. It does force Goff to win the game, but it puts him in a good position to do so.
If it works and they take Armstead out and they bring in Ebukam to prevent, if they make an adjustment to take away the bootleg, that should open up the run game at that point. Now you get to the run game, which is where you want to be, because you can't play action bootleg every time, obviously. But yeah, I would just say hit him with the slider first, and then the fastball is your run game a little after. Because I like they could shut that down if you come out with it. You could really go 3 and out the first drive. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, let's do defense now. Let's do the other way. How are we game planning against Jimmy Garoppolo in this offense? And we got to talk about Trey Lance after that too.
Yeah, for Jimmy, I think you've just got to play that base defense. You really have to try to stop the run and force Jimmy to throw the ball. I think that you want those linebackers to be back in coverage for the simple fact that Jimmy tends to not see them and throw them the ball. And so you definitely, in my opinion, you want to be solid on defense, more of a conservative approach, rushing with 4, staying back in coverage, playing the run to the pass. I think that, to me, that's the way to try and shut down this 49ers offense. I don't expect the 49ers offense to look all that cohesive to begin with. So I'm not so sure that this is the tougher task. I think the tougher task for Detroit will be on the other side of the ball.
Okay. I would love to game plan against Jimmy Garoppolo. But first off, the first thing you got to handle is the run game. And I think the best thing people have done with the run game against the Niners is what Miami did last year. I think what you want to do is play a specific front. I don't know if the Lions have it in them, but I think what you want to do is have a nose tackle right across from the center, 2 defensive tackles right across from the guards. So you want to have that close right at the middle, and then you want to set the edges on the outside. You're kind of encouraging them to run off tackle, because what the Niners want to do is they want to run outside zone. You're going to shut that down by setting the edge, and they want to run inside zone, which is usually off a double team between a center and a guard. So you can't double team if there's 3 guys, if it's 3 on 3. What that kind of opens up is like, power counter, that kind of stuff. But to get that going, the Niners would really have to have Brunskill and Tomlinson pulling and running, and that's not really what they're great at. So that's one way teams have had success shutting down the Niners run game. Although you don't know what the run game is going to look like this year with Trey Lance when he comes out. We're going to talk about him in a minute, but let's talk about Jimmy. So you got to stop the run. You got to do that. And then, or you got to do something to stop the run.
You have to stop the run.
That's the number one thing you got to do.
If you can't stop the run, it's
screwed.
Over.
It's so over. So let's say you can do that. They do Trey Flowers, a really good edge setter. They have Jamie Collins, a good linebacker. They might be able to do it. What coverages do you call? Well, I think you can call a lot of man coverage against Jimmy because he's not going anywhere. You don't have to worry about a spy. So you do man coverage on the outside. Tell them take away the slants, the digs,
take away the short stuff.
Force them to go up the field, and then I would play only a single safety. I mean, I want Jimmy to throw the ball up the sideline. And I'm not worried about, well, I need a safety over there helping up. Like, let's see Jimmy hit that. So I'm encouraging Jimmy to throw low percentage passes up the sideline. And so what do you do? Single high with man coverage underneath. What do you do with that other safety? Do you have him blitz? You could sometimes, but what I would do is just double Kittle, man coverage on the outside, single high, and let's just watch Jimmy Garoppolo freeze. You know, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? You can't go to Kittle. You're gonna check it down every single time? Probably. That's what I would do to Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why they drafted Trey Lance, because it's that easy. I'm not saying it's that straightforward. It's that cut and dry.
That's a great recipe for giving Jimmy fits, to really giving him a headache, because you're forcing him out of his comfort zone, out of the things that he does so well, forcing him into the things that are his weaknesses in trying to push the ball down the field, get it out to the outside the hashes. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens as soon as Kyle says, all right, great, you're doing this to stop Jimmy, now I'm going to throw Trey in.
See, how are you going to alternate? That changes everything. So like on 3rd and 7, if Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback, you can do what I just said, cover one, man coverage, single high with a lock, 2 guys on Kittle, good luck.
Double Kittle.
Yeah, but if Lance is the quarterback, you can't call man coverage on 3rd down. He'll just run for the 1st down. It'll be easy. It'll be so freaking easy. He'll just, okay. I mean, Kaepernick used to do it all the time. You can't call man. So that's just out. And now you got to like do different zone coverages. And so now you got Kittle running free, Ayuk running free. And, you know, you still have to worry about Lance running. Now the Niners have to worry about Lance throwing the ball out of the stadium or, you know, stuff like that. But as a coordinator, you have so many fewer options when Lance is on the field. You have to, if you do call man coverage, you got to have a spy. And that's not just assigning a spy. It's like, well, who can run with him? Who do we got? Which linebacker, which safety do we got that can run him down and tackle him? And if we don't have one, then I can't call man coverage. Or what do you do? Do you just say, like, actually, we're going to blitz, and we're going to blitz just to keep him in the pocket, not even to really get him. But sometimes some people feel the best way to corral a mobile quarterback is to rush 5, because that way there's not like that. If you rush 4, there's always one way to get out. There's always one gap to get out. So those are the questions you're thinking. And now really what happens is when Jimmy's the quarterback, you're on the attack. It's like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. When Trey's the quarterback, you're on the defensive. You're like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I have to do this. Like, these are my options. You know, we're not really going to trick him. So let's just hope that he messes up or our guys are better than their guys on this particular route. That's why I like Trey. Trey.
It seems like a clear advantage for the 49ers against the defense as soon as you put Trey in there. It definitely feels easier to drop a game plan against Jimmy Garoppolo.
It is.
Than against Trey Lance.
Also because Jimmy's started 35 games or whatever. Trey hasn't played at all. He's got this unknown factor.
Yeah, you don't know.
If Trey's just going to go out there and hit all of his receivers in the face and no one can catch his balls, then great. You know, that's the defensive game plan. Let Trey self-destruct. So it works in theory. We just have to, I think it would work in practice too. He just would need to settle down, but I don't think they're really going to give him that opportunity. This is a team that is feeling some heavy 2019 vibes, and they want Jimmy Garoppolo to be able to get into a rhythm and settle down and be given a real chance. So that's where they're at. It's a very interesting psychology, and I don't agree with it, but I'm not the one catching the vibes. They have the vibes, and who am I to say that those vibes don't exist?
You're not there to feel the command that Jimmy has of that huddle.
2 days ago, Debo comes out and someone says, so like, is Jimmy playing better this year? He goes, oh yeah, absolutely. It's real. He came back and it's obvious. And they're like, well, what is it? He goes, oh, he's got a lot more oomph. He really said that. He's got a lot more oomph in the huddle. I feel like, I can't, but I almost would feel like bringing like a bottle of vodka to these press conferences. And anytime someone says oomph, command, or 2019 vibes, is going, oh God, like again? Oomph? Drink. I'll just bring apple juice or something. Convey the same message.
Yes.
Oomph. Williams says, sorry for my bad grammar. You're doing a great job, Grant and Rob, but Trey can throw deep instead, throw short like Jimmy. They don't want him. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I totally agree, William. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it is strange to see what Trey can do and then wonder why they don't want to utilize that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not questioning whether Trey is ready to start right now. I'm sort of on the conservative train there that says you start the veteran until the rookie has really proven himself. And to this point, it seems that the inconsistencies are still there for Trey. But the skill set is undeniable. And the way in which, to your point that you just made, the way in which he opens up this offense and makes it near impossible for defenses to be as aggressive with him, it's trading. I get it. It's pros and cons, but to me, it does feel as if the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah. Now, let me say how I would approach, what would you say to your players if you're going against Trey Lance? Well, first of all, what you're going to do from a coverage standpoint is try to trick him because he hasn't seen a lot of stuff. So you're going to rotate safeties. If you're going to show one thing pre-snap and then do something else every time, you have to see, because those are things that like 30-year-old quarterbacks are good at. You know, they've started 100 games. They've seen that stuff a million times. Jimmy's not great at it, but he doesn't have that. He's not that experienced for an older quarterback. You got to do stuff. You got to do that stuff. The other thing, what? Go away. What was I going to say? So you disguise. Oh, the other thing you want to do is you tell your guys keep him in the freaking pocket. You know, like, yeah, if you can sack him, great. But you do not, defensive ends, do not rush past him. This is what the Niners do to Kyler Murray. Nick Bosa, week 1, would rush past the guy. It's like you're just inviting him to run for 25 yards, right past where you were. So you can't do that. What you're trying to do, and I think you'll win right now, is get Trey Lance to execute from the pocket. Keep him right there. You know, he can do well. He can make some good throws, but he's inexperienced, and you have the advantage when he's there because you're disguising coverages. You're testing him, and this is a big test, a test he hasn't had. So keep him in the pocket, make him execute, make him play quarterback. That's what you're saying, and that's a good game plan against. That's the game plan against Kyler though. That's the game plan against Carson Wentz. That's the game plan against Josh Allen. Everyone. You know,
with Trey, you got to coach your guys to be ready for that tip ball because you know that there will be. I mean, I'm not trying to blow this out of proportion, but based on what we saw in preseason, you know that there are going to be a couple. And if the safeties have their head on a swivel, that's going to be dangerous.
If I were Kyle, I wouldn't be calling those passes for him over the middle yet. No. Like if we're throwing with Trey, it's to the sideline. Or it's in the red zone or to the sideline. Because in the red zone, if he misses high over the middle, it's just a field goal. It's through the uprights, no problem. But don't let him throw over the middle on 3rd and 7 from his own 45. No. Until he hits that throw 20 times in a row in practice. No.
I like that plan.
Nick says Grant is going to have Steve from Blue's Clues moment on the 25th anniversary of Cohn Zone. He's finally going to admit he's been a Niner fan all along. That's funny, man. Seeing Steve come back was kind of terrifying. Like, has it been that long? God.
Yeah. It's terrifying that like I'm too old to even really get that. I'm like Blue's Clues. I didn't watch it.
How old are you?
42.
Oh yeah, you're too old for that for sure.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah. The rant of I was a little too old for Blue's Clues too. I would watch it, but I'd be like, I'm too old for this. But I
too old, but this is fantastic.
I'd be like, man, I have 2 clues. I already know what it is. You really need the 3rd clue? Come on, we do this every day.
What's wrong with you, children?
We need a 3rd clue. Oh my God, we need to sing some songs. Okay. The rant of manifestation says the problem with Jimmy is it seems like when he's in the pocket, he doesn't know how to manipulate the defense by looking off the fence. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of problems with Jimmy. But my issue is that like he doesn't seem to improve, and why is that? Well, to me, I don't think he takes the game. I just think he's happy with where he's at. I think he's pretty happy with where he's at. And when you talk to him after these practices, he's like, I'm pretty good. Good. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a slight, obviously for television, that's a slight exaggeration to make it funnier, and it is. But I think it's true. I do think that he is missing a bit of that relentless pursuit of perfection that drives most people to take that next step. I think that there is a tad bit of complacency. I don't think that it's huge. I think he is a professional. I think he does come to work and crush it. But
he does.
I don't know that
he created this impression. You know how he did it?
Yes. I don't know how he did it, but I know he did
I'll tell you
because
how
it's there.
He created this impression. The porn star thing.
Oh, goodness gracious.
It was a bad look. And he did it right after he got paid. And pretty much ever since that moment, he's shut his personal life down, and we have no idea what he does in the offseason.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it gives the impression that he's pretty much just in it for the lifestyle. And he's naturally good at the position, good enough to be a starter and make this money. And it's wonders like, do you have that chip on your shoulder like Brady and Young? And are you driven to prove that you're not just good, but you're great? Or are you like, yo, guess what I did this weekend? I don't know. That's my question with Jimmy Garoppolo. He might be the guess what I did this weekend. Isn't life rad?
It was a bad life choice for sure. But
it was a peek into the Jimmy-ness of Jimmy.
Let's be honest that we live in a society that unfortunately frowns upon that. A man should be able to date a porn star if he wants to without that much of a backlash.
Agree. But the thing is that being a quarterback in the NFL comes with like higher standards and more scrutiny than anything but being the president. You have to be more of a CEO than the actual CEO of the team.
It is ironic that our last president was able to get away with relations with a porn star better than Jimmy was. I mean, that's saying something.
I mean, really, a quarterback, you have to be above reproach in ways that even presidents don't, even politicians don't. You think, he has to be like a senator. No, you got to be better than that. And you're 24. You know, it's like, it's tough, but these are the guys that have success long-term, are the guys who are like just freaking obsessed, and they carry themselves like they're the CEO of the franchise, the whole franchise.
Have we reached a point as a society that our NFL quarterbacks are, in fact, more important to us than our own president?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, the president could be a disaster as long as you got a quarterback who can get outside the pocket and make throws on the run and create off schedule. You're good. Just limit turnovers. I don't think people in Kansas City are really stressing about what's happening in Washington right now. When you got Patrick Mahomes about to, I can't speak for Kansas City yet though. In the last Brick by Brick, you guys, they still make that show?
Brick by Brick.
You hear a snippet of the huddle, and Jimmy is pretty impressive in there. That was good. I like that. That's what I've heard. I hear the way that he conveys language is just on another level. I like that.
A lot of oomph.
Over under on the quarterbacks combined for 350 pass yards. I don't know how to. Under. It's a run first game.
Yeah, I got to go under here. Like I said, I think that we should go over, but
I think Kyle's going to be like you. I think Kyle's thinking like, you know what? Everyone thinks I'm going to run today. Passing. No one will see it coming except for Rob.
I'll show you.
I will show you right now. All right, it's 10:58. We got to get through this last portion of the show fast. Although, hold on. This is a good topic too. Maybe we have to end here. Would a loss create a real quarterback competition? I love this topic. It's a really interesting question. What do you think?
I think that it at least comes close to doing so. A loss here, especially if Jimmy plays poorly and the 49ers lose, the fans would begin to erupt. You would start to see the revolt. And as much as Kyle, I believe, tries to stay off Twitter, tries to stay away from letting fans influence his decision, at some point, the organization could start to feel pressure. I think that we'd be about halfway there to a true competition. I think that the 49ers would try to write off, well, it's week one weirdness. We just didn't come out prepared. We'll really, after this week of practice back east, we're going to play Philly. It'll be a different story. But I think you're 50% of the way to a true quarterback competition because you lose that second game and it's another game where Jimmy plays badly. Now the heat is on because now you're 0-2. 0-1 is bad enough. To lose to the Lions would be bad enough. It would start the fans on a quarterback competition train. I just don't know if it would bring the coaches, but I think it would light the fire.
It might change the attitude of the fan base or the locker room or the locker room here. But I think ultimately what I'm starting to feel here is that it's all about Kyle and what he wants. And Kyle's very unique in the sense that I don't think he's standing back and watching, trying to let this unfold. I don't think that's his style. I think he has his mind made up already. I think he's kind of feels like, I already know. I'm the smartest person in the room / the world. And I already know that he's not. I know he's not ready. Like, say what you want to. I mean, I know that I don't like Jimmy. I've made this argument a million times internally, but he's not ready. Trey, not ready for what on my rubric, the Kyle Shanahan rubric of readiness. He ain't there. So nothing that happens with Jimmy changes Trey. Like, it just doesn't. I'm sorry. And I think he's dug in on that. The only thing that could actually make this, that could get Trey, I'm starting to feel, only thing that could make him the starting quarterback anytime soon is an injury to Jimmy Garoppolo. That Kyle is committed to a 2-quarterback system, and he's going to do this all freaking year if he can, because Trey's not ready. That end of story. And the only thing that could change that is Jimmy getting hurt. That's the way I see it. Do you think I don't know. I'm prone to conspiracy theories, but that's the way I see it.
You are, but you've also just coined a fantastic phrase, Kyle Shanahan's rubric of readiness. It's a new term that I think all 49er fans should learn and use, because I think you're right. I think it is predetermined. And Kyle certainly does believe that his opinion is the most important and only opinion that matters.
And it's right. It's right.
Yeah. Because he is the smartest. And he may be right about that.
He might be.
At least, well, Mike McDaniel's a pretty brilliant guy as well, so maybe not, but he's bright. Let's give him that. Yes, okay. Kyle wants to go that direction. He's predetermined it, but it just seems unwise not to allow new information to come in and change your opinion. You know what I mean? That is the scientific method. I do think
it seems unfreaking wise. Yes.
Yes, totally. You have a hypothesis and you go with it. You have Trey's not ready now. But then you take in fresh inputs, you take in new information, and you reform your decision. That's the way in which scientists have been doing it for a long time, and Kyle certainly should take that approach. I don't know if his ego will allow him to.
Yeah, I don't know if his ego will allow him to either. I mean, basically, the biggest asset to the 49ers organization is Kyle. And the biggest detriment to their organization is Kyle's ego. It's the way it is. And I think that's the way he's going to be for a while, that he's always in his own way. He's always in his own way. I mean, his need to be the star comes at the expense of his quarterback. And when you're undercutting your quarterback, you're undercutting your whole team. And I think until he figures that out, he'd be best suited to be a coordinator with a coach who can tell him, who can keep him in check at the right times. And, Dan Quinn wasn't that guy. Someone in that Super Bowl 5 years ago needed to turn to Kyle and be like, yo, run the freaking ball. Wait, what are you doing? And Dan Quinn wouldn't do it. And I think Kyle needs that. I don't know if his dad never did that for him. I don't know, but he needs someone to be like 4 times a game. Like, dude, what? No, not right now. He would really benefit from that. I have that. My dad can look at me sometimes and be like, yo, what was that?
You need that. You can't surround yourself with people who are always yes people. You need someone who's going to get in your face and tell you when you're acting stupid. They've just got to be able to give you the truth. They got to be able to speak to you in a way that you hear. And it doesn't, to this point, doesn't seem like Kyle has someone in the room that's willing to do that or capable of doing that.
The way people talk about him in that organization, Robert Saleh, whenever people talk about him, they're like, well, he's the greatest play caller of all time. They say that. Like, when I asked Mike McDaniel once, so are you going to call plays now that you're offensive coordinator? He's like, well, I mean, why would I take the duties away from the greatest play caller of all time? And I think Robert Saleh said that last year too. He's like, do you have to say that to work for the 49ers? Because, I mean, no one actually believes that. I mean, he may be great, but he's not. I mean, come on. Are you kidding?
He's the best we've had in a long time.
Sure,
but greatest of all time.
That's the correct sentence.
That's rough. You have to imagine Robert Saleh strikes me as an individual who is capable of speaking his mind. If he was unable to get in Kyle's face and say the things that needed to be said, I have my doubts that Mike McDaniels is capable of doing it because of the way in which he speaks about Kyle, because of his personality type. Doesn't strike me as the type that's going to stand up and truly just get in his face about something. I could be wrong about that, though. And if he can, that would be a huge step forward for the 49ers.
Well, if Kyle's the kind of person who has to be right all the time, and I think he is, and I think the part of the problem is that he happens to be right most of the time. So he's like, well, but I am right all the time. Right. But you have to be right all the time. And you structure things to a point where I think you probably push away people who don't think you're right all the time, and you structure games and preseason and practices to kind of confirm your belief. So it's like, Trey Lance isn't ready. I'm going to prove it. Watch him get sacked 4 times. That's his fault. Well, sure, I guess. If you wanted him to play like Jimmy, then yeah, he's not ready to play like Jimmy. Mac Jones is ready to play like Jimmy. Trey Lance is ready to play like Trey Lance. But you don't. Okay, all right. You're right. He just, and I think he's surrounded by a lot of people who are like, man, Kyle, you're right again. What? He's right again. Everyone, look at that. And I don't know, man. I think that's a character flaw. If you were a character, something that you might want to work on.
It is. And this is not to say that Kyle is often wrong. He is not. He is right the majority of the time, but he is wrong sometimes.
Yes.
And you do need someone to tell you when you're wrong.
You should want to have people who are checking like that. I got to go down to Santa Clara, but we have some comments. So real quick, but I got like 70 minutes to get 40 miles.
Get the cheddar.
Yeah. Lawn. Oh, I don't. Oh. Lanu. Man, Lanu.
One of us got that right at some point.
Yeah, one of us did. Do you think Trey makes Jimmy better? If so, why and how? Haven't seen that yet. We'll see that.
I think he makes him better in that he forces him to really try and play at his best. I do think that he's lit a bit of a fire underneath Jimmy. That I think is true.
I haven't seen the fire. I haven't seen the smoke, but I agree that there is evidence that in theory the fire should exist. I just haven't seen the markers of fire.
The boneheaded rush into the end zone against a linebacker who nearly took his head off, to me, is evidence of it.
Newt Lab TTV says if Kyle was ready for the future, he would start Trey. 2 quarterback system is a throwback. It's not genius and statistically unsuccessful. Pray for Trey. I don't think he is ready for the future. I don't think this team is ready for the future because they've got some serious vibes.
Only thing I'll say is that you have to do something that no one's ever done before this year. And so why not the 2 quarterback system? Either you have to be the first team to win with such a large percentage of money going to a quarterback, or you have to be the team that wins with a rookie quarterback in the Super Bowl, or you have to be the team that wins with a 2 quarterback system. So if Kyle wants a 2 quarterback system, why not?
Jody says Jimmy G 2019 stats, what they are. Mahomes, what they are. Grant, that's not much distance. Why down? Jody. Do this every day because he's actually better than Patrick Mahomes. I think now that you mention it, he's better. I don't want to get into a whole referendum on Jimmy. You're right. I was wrong. I'll take it all back. Lanu says, go ahead.
It's one thing to say Jimmy's good. Jimmy's a capable quarterback in the NFL. It's an entirely different thing to compare Jimmy to Patrick Mahomes. I don't know that that's a fair comparison.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Who was that guy? Was it, I forget. It was whose character it was on Saturday Night Live. But it was a guy who'd be like, you know what? Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. That's
Stuart Smalley. Stuart Smalley.
That's Jimmy. Jimmy is Stuart. Yes. Lanu says also, who's a bigger impact on the defense, Bosa or Warner? The pass rusher. I would say probably the pass rusher. Guys, I got to drive to Santa Clara. Thank you very much for watching. Rob, great show. We always plan a lot of stuff and only get through some of it because we have so much fun conversating, which is my favorite non-word. You are a nut. Thank you, Jody. Appreciate you. I liked conversating with you today. Good stuff today, everyone. I'll be back later with an all 49ers roundtable in the afternoon. See you then. And follow Rob.
Yes, go follow me on my YouTube, Rob Schuh, Twitter, The Left Shoe. Subscribe. It's fantastic. New content coming out. We going.
I gotta go. See ya.
Go Niners.